This episode of Lore Drop is sponsored by Ray Clark. We miss you so much, Iron Sights. Come visit us in the desert. All right, Melissa, you got some teachers.
Yeah, I'm struggling to come up with the name of one of them. But one of the first people who comes to mind was my high school ballroom dance teacher, Cian McGinnis. And
What kind of school did you go to that had ballroom dance?
see, I was also homeschooled.
Oh, okay.
But we had a co-op.
It
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
Welcome to Lore Drop, a Reinvent podcast. I am Abby, the executive director of Reinvent Productions.
I am Ben, the creative and artistic director.
And our third party member with us today is our friend
Melissa.
So,
Yay.
Melissa was one of our actors in Ordinary Heroes. She played the character Miss Fortune, which I'm going to be so for real. I did not process the pun until the first day of rehearsal.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
but I didn't tell anybody because I didn't want to look stupid.
How many of the cast do you think also still have not processed the pun? How many do you think are learning
I
it right
think
now?
at least Andrew Aguilar didn't get it. We'll see if he got it. Andrew, did you know that it was a pun?
Yeah, I guess we'll find out Wednesday morning.
You gotta be honest, man. Gotta be honest. Andrew called me out. He said, why am I catching strays in the podcast when I'm not even on it? And I'm like, well, now you've just set yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
So now I just have to make fun of Andrew Aguilar every time. And just like how I say that Hayden is taller every single time we mention him on the podcast,
Yep.
which he's 12,000 feet tall, by the way.
Approximately.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about Andrew Aguilar or how tall Hayden is today. We are talking about Miss Fortune, the really nifty magic user in Ordinary Heroes. We're going to be talking about her Universe 17 version compared to her onstage appearance. But before we get to that, we must decide the most important part of the episode, which is what animated trio the three of us are today. And
Yeah.
Melissa, you had a good idea.
Yeah, I'm thinking beginning of the movie Lion King, Zazu, Simba, and Nala.
Yes.
That whole just can't wait to be king
Nice.
era of the movie.
So like, yeah, before
Yeah.
everything goes wrong and everybody's sad, like it's like the gold part of the movie.
Yeah.
And you're, like,
Absolutely.
happy, go lucky.
Was it they call it the I Want song?
Yes, it is
Yeah.
the I Want song. Man, getting educated in film and theater, sometimes it kind of ruins it at some point where you're like overanalyzing everything. But yes, the I Want song is a good one. So, all right. Ben, tell us about Universe 17 Miss Fortune.
Okay, so Miss Fortune in Universe 17 is a drow who was born with the innate ability to cast magical spells. If you're looking for D&D terminology, that makes her a sorcerer. She was just born with the ability to use magic. And so additionally, in the Reinvent world as well, I think we've mentioned this a couple times, but drow are also aliens. They are from an entirely different planet altogether, the planet of Dravik. And so that makes Miss Fortune, I think, the first character that we're covering on Lore Drop who is a space character,
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
This is the first one.
at least in Universe 17. And so, yeah, with that, Miss Fortune, she is easily able to cast a very wide range of spells and can also influence the probability of events in the world around her, hence the name Miss Fortune. It's that sort of double entendre, that's the word. And so with that, some of her notable allies include the heroes Neoman, Azorian, Huntermaster, Grand Spectre, and Pharaoh. And notable adversaries include Zarius Ariadbal, Myrmidon, the Ancient Gearforged Legion, and the Wicked Gorgon.
That's a lot of words.
Yep. I think the only one of those we've mentioned so far is Neoman. And that might have been in like a couple like Captain Amazing episode or maybe a couple others. I don't know. But yeah, and really that's like, as far as Universe 17 goes, that's the main thing I've got for her. Her first real world appearance is in Ordinary Heroes in Universe 1 as a character in one of those comic books who was inspired by the teachers that he grew up with. And then he ends up creating the character of Miss Fortune much later in life, or at least that's when we see her, is in Volume 3.
I want to go back because Melissa and I have the notes in front of us, but our audience does not have the notes in front of them.
Yeah.
What year was Miss Fortune born?
Oh, yeah. Because she's a drow, she has elf lifespan. And so she's born in the year 1601, the Earth year 1601, I should say, and lives to the present. Still alive and going around the galaxy.
That's wild.
Yep. But yeah, so as a hero in Universe 17, she is very much this sort of like space adventurer. Think of like those old like pulp sci-fi comic books. That's the kind of role that she fills, of just traveling planet to planet in search of the source of her magic, whatever it was that gave it to her at some point. And so these her adventures then bring her to all these different planets and interacting with all these different people.
She ever hang out with the Starry Knights?
Oh yeah, no, that's who Pharaoh and Grand Spectre are with.
There is a group called the Starry Knights.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the first time that Ben said,
everyone at the table groaned.
Everybody went, oh, but they're so cool.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, great name, but just also at the same time, a horrible, horrible pun.
Yeah.
But
listen, space is where I put most of the pun names, ironically enough. But yeah, and so that's the main stuff with Universe 17, Miss Fortune, and then some big differences that we see in her iteration in Ordinary Heroes in Universe 1. She is, of course, much like anyone else who in Universe 17 is not a human, in Universe 1 is a human, except Richard.
Who is
a robot still. But Miss Fortune is a magic user in Ordinary Heroes with just years of training and experience. And she is also the mentor/teacher figure for Book. And as well, when she shows up in Volume 3, is a notable member of the Order of Heroes in that capacity. And throughout that story, in the events of Volume 3, Issue 3, ends up losing her magic because she uses all of it to sort of bring Trickshot to the present day to end up.
What a bummer. She shows up for one scene and by the end of it she has no powers
but
anymore.
She ends up being the most pivotal and important character in that scene, really.
You know.
Yeah. But her notable allies in Ordinary Heroes include, of course, Book, Sneak, Circuit, Richard, and Red Notice, and notable adversaries include Lady Earthquake and Witch Doctor. But yeah, that's one of those that this is one of the batch of characters that I was like, I have a name. And that's what I've got. And then there's like a basic rundown of like, okay, here's the concept of the character outside of that.
But she hasn't shown up in any of our tabletop stuff yet or any story things.
Yeah.
So kind of a playground or a sandbox character that's still yet to be expanded on.
Oh, yeah.
No, Ben is dying to do a space campaign.
I want to do it so bad. I want to go to space.
But yeah, so I met Melissa doing Much Ado About Nothing. That was the first time I had like gotten to see you in anything, and she played the wonderful hero, which that poor character. I always, whenever I see that show, I get so mad at like all of the men in that show. I'm like, why would you think that this wonderful sweet person would cheat on her fiance? Like, I was like, there's no character traits about this person that would make you believe that this is what she would do.
That was a running joke backstage. Like every night of the performance, I'd come up with a valid reason to blame another person in the cast or another character for what happened to her. Like if Dad had said yes to her getting engaged within 5 minutes, or of like getting married right after she got engaged, no problems. If her fiance hadn't believed that, like everyone is at fault except Hero.
Yes, no, seriously, like, and that's usually how it goes with a lot of Shakespeare things. I mean, okay, I get it. Like, there's like the creative thing, and it's like if the bad things don't happen, then there's no story. Blah, blah. But like, seriously though, like, what? And Don John just knew that everybody was willing to, or not Don John. No, Don John's a bad one.
Yeah, he's the one who does that, yeah.
Silly little James knew that everybody was willing to fall for it. So, I don't know. Maybe that just says that's a social commentary
that's
right
one
there.
of the funny things with Shakespeare is like in comedies, there's one person who ruins it for everyone else. And in tragedies, it's one person who mostly ruins it for themselves.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure is. That's crazy. Anyway, that long-winded thing. I met Melissa doing Much Ado About Nothing, and I remember being like, hey, she's really cool. We invited her to be one of the readers for the first, like, or I guess the final big table read for Ben to make sure that, like, everything was good, and we were getting ready to confirm casting and all that jazz. And she ended up playing our art teacher, because I knew that, like, filling that role in particular, I was like, we have to have someone that gives off, like, the best teacher you've ever had vibes.
Yeah.
And like meeting Melissa, I was like, yes, that is,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's the teacher that everyone loves and like is the teacher that like is a life changer. Like I just had a long conversation with our friend Robin who taught in Texas for 30 years about like how hard it is being a teacher, but like it is so worth it because like
Yeah.
you are actively changing lives. So that was a long-winded way of saying I was like, Melissa gives off those vibes, and I was like, I want her to do this. Not knowing you very well, but like I really enjoyed your work that you did in Much Ado, and I was like, I want her to keep doing stuff with us. But what I wanted to ask you, Melissa, is like, how was this show, Ordinary Heroes, compared to like other theatrical things that you've done in Lubbock area? How did this compare?
Yeah, well, I will say that I've done almost no theater in Lubbock. I did a show with Cats December of 24, and then I did Much Ado, and then I did this show. So I'm very new to the Lubbock
Nice.
theater scene. Grew up in theater in California, and then some in Abilene, Texas in undergrad, and then some in Colorado, but new to the Lubbock theater scene. So I don't have a ton to compare to, but obviously this was a really compressed rehearsal process, which was very interesting, and like had some positives and some negatives, but that was a real difference with this show. But also pretty incredible to see how quickly the cast came together in such a short period. You didn't have months of rehearsals of building those relationships.
Yeah.
So that was really cool to see within this process.
Yeah, it was really cool just to see the love that was in the room. Like there are obviously like it can be hard when there's like people who have done stuff together for a long time and then new people come in and all of that stuff. But I was really happy that like everybody got integrated. And I'm hoping that like with Talent Squad, Trust and Turmoil, we have 14 new people for this show.
Yeah.
All of which have not done a full show with us. And it's fun. It's like that time of growth for a young company of getting people integrated is really important. And I'm really grateful that with Ordinary Heroes, we ended up having a really tight-knit group of people by the end of it. Have you ever done a superhero-esque show before?
I have not.
Most people have not. So like, is your background doing like more plays or more musicals? Like what's your like go-to if you were like you see an audition call, like what are you looking for with stuff like that?
Yeah, I grew up doing Disney musicals. It was a blast, but definitely as I've grown as an actress, prefer straight plays, Shakespeare, like that, the language, what am I looking for? Humor of language, humor of words, like really clever things. Tends to be my style. Physical comedy is not my strong suit. I own that. And I admire people who it is. So yeah, like Shakespeare's my safe lane. This was a step outside of that.
I loved seeing everybody. I think this show in particular pushed everybody out of their comfort zone in one way or another. And that was really cool to see people tackle roles like that. I want to do something a little bit different with this episode because like we have been finding that within our episodes we end up talking about like different things. Like we end up talking about RPG stuff, we end up talking about other Shakespeare stuff. We went on a very long tirade about that in our last episode. But I did really want to focus in on the idea of teachers that have impacted the three of us because I think one of my favorite parts of this script is, oh man, Ben's already crying.
That's great.
Oh no. I would love for us to like reflect on teachers that kind of led us to where we are now. Because I know that we've talked about that Melissa does HR for Compassion International, which is a wonderful organization. And before we started recording, like Melissa was like, "How did you guys end up working at H2C2?" And I was like, "A series of crazy mishaps, and not even mishaps, just like stumbling into opportunities." But especially over the last couple weeks, I've been thinking back to teachers that formed my path to end up here in Lubbock, Texas, running a nonprofit and working full time as a theater artist. So, so since I've put us on the spot for it, I will go first. So there are three teachers in particular I want to shout out. First of all is Carlos Bass, He was my art teacher at Maple Woods Community College in Kansas City. I was a 15-year-old doing community college because I was being homeschooled because I was doing a lot of theater. And but then I was a very extroverted person who did enjoy the classroom, so I ended up going to community college. And Carlos was the art teacher at Maple Woods, and I got to learn and grow so much in his classroom, but then also ended up working as an art assistant. That's where I met one of my friends, Indigo, who she ended up going to Missouri Western before I did. And it really is because of him that, long story short, I had a wonderful crash out and ended up applying for Missouri Western, kind of out of panic of trying to figure out life. And one thing led to another. It's where I met my spouse and all that jazz.
Yeah.
But Carlos Bass really invested a lot into me over the years that I was there. And then another person was Jeff Stover, who we've talked about, I think, a few times on this podcast. But he was our teacher at Missouri Western in the theater department. He ran the department, and so much of what I do now, I've learned from him directly, or just like watching him just traverse the craziness that was that department.
Yeah.
And then I have so many other teachers, but there's a teacher from high school that was one of my theater people. It was Jana Lantraw, Milborn.
Ah, yes.
She was it was funny because like it was my senior year of doing theater, so I was like 1 foot out the door within the program. And she was a younger person. Like, I don't know what the age gap is between us, but it was just one of those things where I was like, oh, we're not like super close in age, but it was like one of those things where it's like, once I graduate, we're going to be friends. And we were, and I really appreciate the investment that she did in me over the last couple shows I did at Christian Youth Theater, which is now first act theater arts in Kansas City. But she invested so much in me, and there are so many other teachers, but like when I think about like which teachers formed major bridges for me to end up where I am now.
I would be remiss to not specifically shout out the teacher that the character of art teacher in Ordinary Heroes is based off of, which is my middle school art teacher. Her name was Miss Savage. I don't remember what her first name was.
Miss.
Yeah.
Her name was Miss.
Yeah. But no, that was, and this is very honestly like kind of funny because this is in 7th grade. I'm not going to go into the details, but I did a very dumb thing and ended up getting suspended for the second 9 weeks.
And you
like
went
the
to
entirety
juvie.
of it. Not juvie. It was an alternate school for that 9 weeks. But when I came back, I got swapped out of the German class that I was originally in for my afternoon elective and swapped into the art class. And then I stayed in art for 8th grade as well. And so that was fun. But yeah, no, she is the specific teacher that art teacher in that scene, the first Richard scene, is modeled after. And then, I mean, there's genuinely just so many that I give a lot of credit to for shaping me into the person that I am. I think the other like big one for theater stuff specifically is Robin Hens, my second theater teacher in high school, specifically in senior year. And then, I mean, yeah, Jeff Stover is also really good. Michael Scroggs was another big one for me, especially.
yes.
Good mentorship there. So yeah, all of them were like huge like stepping blocks of like leading up to like deciding to be like a teacher. And then I was juggling a long time what kind of teacher I wanted to be. And then in 12th grade I was like, no, theater teacher, that's it. And then going and doing, and I remember very specifically my first time going up to Missouri Western, and me and my dad went and did like the orientation stuff, and then we went, they're like, okay, cool, and then your advisor's not actually here today, so we're going to have you talk with Jeff Stover because he's the head of the program anyway. And then he was like, so what do you want to do in theater? And I said, anything. And he was like, real specific, huh? It was something sassy like that.
It's a dry man.
But I remember specifically, and I told him as I wanted to teach at one point, and he said, cool, I'm not going to put you in the theater education program because you're going to get more out of being in the theater degree than the theater education degree.
Yeah, especially after how this
Yes.
last semester has
Yes,
gone for you
exactly.
as a high school teacher. I think that
Yeah,
was a good
and
call.
so that was grade A advice. Thank you, Jeff. After that, in grad school, the two specific teachers I want to give like shout outs to for teaching, and then also specifically for Ordinary Heroes. For teaching is Dr. Bill Gelber, and Ordinary Heroes is Chris Staley, because it was in his class, his dramatic analysis class, that I had like the light bulb epiphany of how I wanted Ordinary Heroes to be through taking his class. And I like sat down with him in a meeting, and I was like, okay, we finished the main thing we came to meet about. Now I have a completely separate thing I want to pitch. And I shout out to him for just like letting me hyperfixate and explain this whole thing to him at that point. But yeah, if I were to list out like all of the teachers, it would be a very long list.
Also, Chris, thanks for teaching Ben Suzuki, because it's always entertaining whenever I have to go to the doctor and he starts doing Suzuki while we're waiting.
Yep, it's just the perfect place, you know.
Okay. All right, Moza, you got some teachers.
Yeah, I'm struggling to come up with the name of one of them. But one of the first people who comes to mind was my high school ballroom dance teacher, Sian McGinnis. And
What kind of school did you go to that had ballroom dance?
see, I was also homeschooled.
Okay.
But
Never
we
mind.
did a co-op.
It
Yeah.
already.
Yeah. And she, wonderful woman, teaching all of these junior high school students how to dance with so much patience and grace, just modeled that. But she also
And
said,
arguably a very awkward
oh my
teenagers.
goodness, yes. Oh, yes.
It's like, not to throw you under the bus, but there are.
Yeah,
There's
and
a
then you
type.
add, like ballroom dance hold, and it gets very
You're like-
awkward for students. She was such a gracious woman, but she also said something that I just applied to every aspect of my life. And she was talking about when you're asked to dance, you always say yes, because you can do anything for one song. And at the end of the song, you can do something else. And I found that so true in my life. When I'm approaching something that I'm uncertain about or I'm not sure I'll enjoy, I can do anything for one song. And at the end of the song, I never have to do it again. I never have to dance with that person again. I never have to try that thing again. But I can do anything for one song. And I think that has gotten me so far. And then I had a professor in my undergrad whose name is just escaping me fully at the moment. But he was the young, cool professor that everybody loved, was best friends with the whole soccer team, would bring them into economics as a major because he'd get them through it. But he just brought such cleverness and passion and love for what he was doing in such a different way than other professors I'd experienced. And that idea of teaching in your own style and approaching things in your own style. And I learned so much in his classes. It wasn't that he wasn't teaching. It was just like he brought this fun to things that made it easier to learn. And I think that's informed the way that I approach life, that I approach when I'm in teaching moments. Everything is that idea of like, bring your own spin to it and bring excellence and bring intentionality and bring fun.
Man, I love that. Yeah, I know for a fact that like if we hadn't had the teachers that we had, that we wouldn't be here. Like, I mean, like just the butterfly effect is fascinating to just look at, because like tracing back, like I remember that like it was Dr. Bob at Missouri Western who, whenever I was trying to figure out like what I wanted to do, like if I wanted to do grad school after undergrad, who threw out the idea of Texas Tech because he knew Dr. Charney, which I never would have known about Texas Tech if I hadn't gone to Missouri Western, and if I hadn't had my wonderful crash out and begrudgingly applied for Missouri Western after Carlos and Indigo told me about it. It's just cool to see how things work out, and like truly just like how like God has navigated our path to end up here. Because I mean, I don't know if I've said this on the podcast before, but I've said this to several friends that we did not intend to stay in Lubbock. My last year of grad school, like once I graduated, I was like, we are getting out of Dodge once Ben has graduated, because I was miserable and was just like, I have no friends and blah. And then we got friends, and then we started a company, and now we're like, well, we really like it here, this dusty little town. One more fun question before we wrap up today, because I think this is a fun thing. Thinking about Miss Fortune, she has all these magical powers and abilities and whatever. If you could have one magic power that is think about it having to be like a practical, like everyday use thing, like something that would make your life easier in the everyday. What power would you want to have?
Teleporting.
Teleporting.
I hate the travel process. Like I enjoy driving, but it's like getting my stuff together and making sure I leave on time is a hassle all the time for me. I do hate flying now, and I also do not like boats. Trains are cool. Trains are great.
I love trains.
But but yeah, no, if I could just teleport where I need to go, that would be beautiful.
I'm just thinking, you just mentioned having trouble gathering things up, being on time. Would teleportation fix that, though?
Who's to say?
I would want to be able to split myself into different versions of myself, specifically to be like, okay, I need the analytical Abby to go deal with this paperwork, and then the creative Abby can sit and do her scrapbook, or the part of Abby that has to not take any nonsense go deal with this interpersonal communication situation, while the part of Abby that wants to cry can just sit and read her book instead.
Yeah.
But
yeah, being able to split myself would be very helpful, as the to-do list never ends.
I feel that. I'm kind of thinking along the same lines, but what's coming to mind specifically is the scene in Doctor Strange where he's asleep and his spectral form is studying.
Yeah.
To just to have a spectral form who could multitask for me, especially if I could just sleep while it was happening.
Oh, I want to change my answer.
Any superpower, magical ability that involves napping, I'm here for it.
That's so good.
Yeah.
This is fun. I like talking about what makes us who we are.
Yeah.
Like it is, I think it's always good to like go back and reflect, and characters like this that didn't have as much stage time as other characters. I feel like the art teacher is such an important character in Ordinary Heroes. Like if Wendell did not have the interaction with that art teacher, like the rest of the play wouldn't happen.
I mean, the characters even say it as much. They're like, oh, this will be the first proverbial domino, whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's another Andrew line, right?
Huh?
Isn't that a Richard line?
You said Andrew.
Andrew, sorry. Richard Andrew.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the character Andrew. That's why I was like, what are you talking?
No,
He was
Andrew
not in this play.
Andrew Blood is not in this play.
Yeah.
There was a picture of him though in the play.
Yeah.
As an Easter egg.
But yes, I think that was one of Richard's lines in that scene.
Yes. But yeah, it's fun to look back on what made us us. Before we wrap up this episode, Melissa, do you have any thing you want to shout out or give plugs to?
Yeah, absolutely. Just a shout out to my family who have supported me from the first show I forced them to perform when I was 4 years old. All along the way, bringing my nephew, who's my new biggest fan at 8 months old, to see shows. Always so supported by them in every aspect of life and just enabling me to pursue the things I love.
That's awesome. We love our support systems.
Yeah.
Our next episode that's coming out is going to be with our friend Sierra, who played Brave, which is actually the Alex track in Ordinary Heroes. So we're really excited to talk about that character with her. So make sure that you are subscribed wherever you listen to your podcast, so that way you don't miss an episode.
And remember,
Being fantastic starts with being a fan.
Reinvent Productions is proudly sponsored by 5 Points Corporation Lubbock and Savannah Rashida Photography, as well as our other wonderful community patrons. Our home base in Lubbock is Hollingsworth Hall Cultural Center at 4228 Boston Avenue. For more information on how to support our 501c3 organization, you can check out our website at www.reinvent-productions.com. To directly support our upcoming audio drama, you can become a Lore Drop sponsor. For just $10, you can sponsor an episode of this podcast. All donations will go towards support for our upcoming production of Children of Destiny Cataclysm Season 1, which will begin releasing episodes June 22nd, 2026. Funds will go towards paying our wonderful voice actors and creative staff for their fantastic talent and time. We have over 30 artists globally working on this production, and we can't wait for you to hear it this summer. You can donate at givebutter.com/Lore Drop sponsor. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok at reinvent.productions, as well as on Facebook and Twitch, where we stream gaming and a look behind the scenes on how we create our new works. Be sure to follow us to stay in the loop about upcoming productions, auditions, and more. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you in the next episode of Lore Drop.